There's no way Disney's picking him up after his contract expires in April. They will let it expire, and that's it. Disney doesn't want this. Disney shareholders don't want politics. They just want they want entertainment. They want, and why would you want to allow 50 automatically, take, okay, there's 80 million voters that we don't want to watching our show. I think he's affected by the head writer, who's his wife, who's a liberal. That's
the head writer is his wife.
Yeah, that's way out there.
Jimmy Kimmel's wife.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No, I know, but the head writer for what? For the show?
Jimmy Kimmel show.
For the show
is his wife.
Did you see the podcast where he looked like he was a hostage by her over liberal white anger and bitterness?
Over the past few months, Jimmy Kimmel's late night show has faced growing criticism, with many viewers wondering why the program seems to be losing momentum. Now, Rob Schneider has offered a blunt explanation for what he believes is behind the decline. His comments were sharp and controversial, sparking debate about the direction of modern late-night television.
If you were wondering how bad these Epstein files are for Trump, turns out they're Invade Venezuela bad. This is literally the plot of the movie Wag the Dog. The president gets caught in a scandal, so he attacks a smaller country to distract us, and here we are, distracted. On Saturday, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured by Delta Force at their home in Caracas and brought to New York. Trump watched the operation unfold in real time from the bunker in his basement at Mar-a-Lago.
Schneider argues that Kimmel has increasingly focused his monologues on criticizing Donald Trump, repeating similar themes night after night. According to him, what once felt like quick comedy and clever entertainment has gradually shifted toward heavy political commentary. He believes many viewers originally tuned in for humor, not extended political discussions, and that this shift may have pushed some of the audience away.
My response to that is it's a really good warning to comedians and other hosts and other people who do shows that if you go too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole, or if you just get too politicized, and then all of a sudden you're not you're not in the funny business anymore. You're just in the it's politics, and it's it's really a propaganda through comedic imposition. They're imposing their views.
He also claims that certain political controversies have been discussed for years, and in his view, if truly explosive evidence existed, it would likely have already dominated headlines. Because of that, Schneider believes repeatedly suggesting dramatic revelations can start to feel more like speculation than satire. Over time, he argues, audiences may grow tired of hearing the same predictions again and again.
It wasn't funny, and it wasn't particularly interesting, and it's just factually incoherent, because believe me, if there was anything in those files about Trump, the Democrats had it for years. They would have released it, but you think they would have hid that stuff to protect Trump?
Schneider also points to what he sees as a broader pattern in political media. He recalls how stories about alleged connections between Trump and Russia once dominated news coverage and public debate. According to him, when early narratives later became more complicated, it caused some viewers to question the credibility of commentators who had spoken with certainty before all the facts were known.
Look, obviously, all that stuff should come out, but the presumption that there's stuff there, it's just how much more of this is it's people see that Russia was the only two people not involved in the Russia-Trump collusion was Russia and Trump. Everybody else seemed to be colluding. So I think the American people see through that. It's just like when you watch the news, depending if you're watching CNN, you have to go, okay, if politics is war by other means, this is war. So it's just a political warfare. So what are they not telling you?
Another issue Schneider raises is the tone of late-night comedy today. He believes some shows now feel more like lectures than entertainment. Modern audiences, he says, have easy access to information online and can quickly compare viewpoints themselves. When commentary sounds overly certain or repetitive, he argues that viewers may feel talked down to instead of entertained.
It's treating your audience like they're stupid or like they're just in your own political echo chamber. And it's like he listens. I mean, I think he's affected by the head writer, who's his wife, who's a liberal. That's
The head writer is his wife?
yeah, that's way out there.
Jimmy Kimmel's wife.
Jimmy Kimmel.
No, I know, but the head writer for what? For the
For
show?
Jimmy Kimmel show.
For the
yeah.
show,
Is his wife?
Did you see the podcast where he looked like he was a hostage by her over liberal white anger and bitterness? Oh, of
I
course.
think it's obviously. Look, Jimmy Kimmel's certainly capable of being funny. I mean, I remember doing.
Really?
Yes.
Schneider also emphasizes the business side of television. Ratings and advertising revenue ultimately determine whether a show continues. If audiences shrink, networks begin reevaluating the future of those programs. He believes this situation reflects a wider trend across late night, where shows that once relied on broad humor now focus more heavily on political messaging aimed at a smaller audience.
I remember doing the show. He was the MC while we did the Hugh Hefner roast 8 days after 9/11. And you know, and he was funny. He can be funny. I think when you get so emotionally vested in something, and I just think it's. I mean, I will tell you this right now. There's no way Disney's picking him up after his contract expires in April. They will let it expire, and that's it. Disney doesn't want this. Disney shareholders don't want politics. They just want they want entertainment. They want, and why would you want to allow 50? Automatically, you know, take, okay, there's 80 million voters that we don't want to watching our show.
Looking back at earlier generations of hosts, Schneider says late-night comedy used to roast everyone equally. That balance allowed viewers from different political backgrounds to laugh together. Today, he argues, when the jokes appear to focus mainly on one political side, the humor can start to feel one-directional rather than universal.
When's the last time Jimmy Kimmel was actually funny?
Well, I will tell you, you can't really come up with like, well, that was a really good zinger. I mean, like, you know, Jay Leno, you can remember, I mean, I remember his jokes, you know, when he was on his, hey, you know, they remember when Starbucks is, you know, Starbucks is opening up another 600 Starbucks, and where can they open it up? The only place I can think of is inside other Starbucks, you know. He would have,
Leno was the best.
I mean, he
Yeah.
was really the best comedian of his era, and you know, and he was.
But he was fair, though. That's the thing about Leno. He'd call out all sides.
All those guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Carson and Letterman.
Schneider also suggests that many late-night shows have begun sounding similar. He points to hosts such as Stephen Colbert as part of a broader trend where multiple programs focus on the same political themes. When audiences hear the same angles repeated across different shows, he says the comedy can start to feel predictable instead of fresh.
They obviously, whoever's in power should go after, but with jokes. And I think, yeah, I mean, traditionally Trump has been thin-skinned about any jokes, but I also think those weren't jokes. I just
Adam
think
Carolla was here. He was very complimentary of Kimmel. Like, he wouldn't say anything bad about Kimmel because he said Kimmel's the reason why he came up and all this other stuff. So he's got.
But I know that him and they diverge. But we have to move. We all have to. We can have divergent views without demonizing each other. And the problem with what Jimmy Kimmel does and what I just saw is it's just a continuation of the demonization of half of America. And well, who's that getting? Why was that getting us anywhere?
In the end, Schneider believes this shift explains why several late-night shows may be losing viewers. He argues that audiences are not rejecting comedy itself, but rather commentary that feels overly political or repetitive. According to him, if late-night television wants to regain its audience, it may need to return to balanced humor that entertains people from all sides.